Hi, Jay Hill here, Interim Leader of Wexit Canada, back with you once again. In the last video, I spoke about why our dysfunctional Parliament will never adequately protect the interests of the West. I also stated that there's no leader or candidate that can truthfully claim they will either. Now, why is that? Well, put in the simplest of terms, it's because of numbers. There are far more people and therefore far more members of Parliament in central Canada than there are here in the West. Any leader of either the federal Liberals or Conservatives must constantly take that fact into account if they wish to become or remain Prime Minister. Every time they consider taking a position, developing a policy, or defending an election platform, they will weigh whether it will likely gain or lose them votes in Ontario and Quebec. Regardless of whether Peter MacKay, Erin O'Toole, Leslyn Lewis, or Derek Sloan win the Conservative leadership next weekend, their focus will be on how to win seats down there while taking Western seats for granted. They will claim otherwise. But speaking from personal experience, I know it's unfortunately true. Peter MacKay said, and I quote, "I will respect provincial regulatory autonomy in the planning and approval of all energy projects and will work with them to ensure they are constructed quickly and without undue interference or blockade." End of quote. Exactly how will he do this where others have failed? He doesn't say, because he knows that unless he's willing to override Quebec's objections, he will never get an Energy East oil pipeline built. Okay, but what about Mr. O'Toole when he says he will, quote, pass a National Strategic Pipelines Act? This would allow the government to declare a pipeline to be nationally strategic and subject it to an expedited review process, end of quote. But the same holds true for him as for Mr. MacKay. Do you really believe Mr. O'Toole will risk angering Quebecers by forcing through a pipeline over their opposition? Calling out the army, if necessary, to protect construction workers from violent protesters? Do you believe he would do that? Unless a leader is willing to do whatever is needed to get the job done, absolutely nothing will change. Economic, life-saving projects will continue to be stymied by protests and court action. Fairness for Western Canada will continue to be on their back burner, if it makes it to the stove at all. Ms. Lewis's platform makes the observation that, quote, Canada still imports millions of barrels of oil from countries with far less environmental standards. We can and should do better. And we need to use our own oil, end of quote. Sounds good. Westerners have been saying that for decades. But what is she prepared to do to make that a reality? Again, just like the others, she doesn't say. And Mr. Sloan? Well, all four candidates support repealing Bills C-48 and C-69, of which I spoke in my last video. But what then? Scrapping economically destructive Liberal laws is not the same as actually having a plan and the courage to carry it out. So if you believe, as I do, that no matter how well-intentioned the future leader of the Conservative Party may be, he or she will not face off against Central and Eastern Canada to force meaningful change to protect our interests. If you believe that, then come aboard Wexit Canada and truly help build a brighter tomorrow. Please buy your membership today. And remember to stay safe.